This video today is to show you guys why you don't want to turn down files or people who tell you that they don't have the best credit scores. Because when they say that to you, whether it be on the phone or by text message, just because they say they don't have the best credit scores doesn't mean that they're not just one or two moves away from being ready. Or, in other words, being ready within a matter of 30 to 60 to 90 days. These are people that you can nurture in pipeline. Now, of course, there are going to be some other folks that do need a little bit more work on their credit. And it involves actually having a credit repair person involved and handing it off to that person so that you can focus on what you want to do. But in this video, what I'm going to show you is how you can help somebody take ownership of their credit account and get their credit scores up high, and you can be the superhero in their eyes. Now, essentially, what I would be doing here is I would be having them come to the office for a what we call a strategy session, or in other words, a consultation. Why do you ask? Well, if you think about it, this is what you're aiming for, right? You're aiming for relationships. And even though this person may not be ready, at least you can meet a person face to face and help them out, and they can feel good about you helping them out. And they're going to remember that because not only are they going to remember that for the purpose of you helping them in the future, but they're going to send you their friends because they got a chance to know who you are as a person and a professional. So let's jump into it real quick. Now, this particular person, their credit scores are actually not that bad. But for this particular example, what we're going to do is I'm going to have you guys write down notes on the things you want to pinpoint when you're going through somebody's credit profile to try to figure out what little details in a Credit Karma account can you pay attention to for the purpose of telling them how to get their credit scores higher. All right, so the very first thing is this person more than likely has about a 630 to 640 credit scores with both TransUnion and Equifax. Experian is missing in here. They never report in the Credit Karma accounts. Um, so we know that that's more or less their credit score. So that's why I said this person might be ready to buy using an FHA loan. However, if he was looking for like down payment assistance or something a little bit where he needed a higher credit score, then he would need a little bit of work. What I'm going to do in here is I'm going to figure out exactly how many credit cards does he have. And we're in here and we are on TransUnion right now. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to total accounts. There might be a faster way of getting here, but this is just the way that I do it. View all accounts. And right now we're looking at every single account that TransUnion is reporting. You see it's at the top. And here we are, we're in the credit card section. If you know anything about getting credit scores higher, your focus is always on the credit cards first. You want to know if there's any credit cards that they're actively open and using. Okay, that's the very first little tip. Second thing is you want to see, are they abusing the credit score or the balances, the utilization? In this particular person, if you notice, they have one, two, three credit cards that are open, and all the other ones are closed. This one's paid in, has a small balance. The first two have balances. Now we need to figure out exactly what the utilization rate is. Just a quick tip. Typically, the first card or two is the one that you want to focus on the most when it comes to figuring out which credit card to pay down first for the purpose of getting your credit scores higher. When you see those first two accounts, they typically are for one or two reasons. A, they have the highest credit limit, or B, it's the oldest account that they have on their credit profile. Therefore, those two variables tend to create a positive effect as soon as they take care of what they need to take care of. All right, so now we're in this section. We notice here that this person has a 55% credit utilization rate on this particular account. We know, all of us know, that the rule of thumb is to keep it at 30% or below. That's the first thing. And when we do that, what's going to happen is that you're going to see the scores jump. And then the second level to that, the second phase, is to get it to 10% or lower, because then you can see the scores jump even more. All right. Sometimes it's a significant jump, and I'm talking about 40, 50, 60, 70 points. And sometimes it's 20 points, right? It really just kind of depends what's going on in the overall credit profile for this particular account. So we've locked down, we've pinpointed one specific account in one area of need. Stay with me though, because there's more important stuff that I need you to follow. The second thing is you want to figure out what the billing date is. You want to confirm with them. You can have them go in, log into their Credit One bank account and figuring out what the billing cycle is. And you want to make sure it lines up to this reported date. The reason why is because if this person tells you, hey, I can pay this thing down like next week, right? And they pay down the credit card balance next week. Well, then what happens is like, well, how do we know when it's going to report? You need to have some form of landmark or some kind of rule of thumb where you know how often to follow up with that person so that you get them right in time before their scores jump up. The billing cycle, the billing date is typically the landmark so that you know exactly what's going to happen. What's going to happen is that, let's say December 27th or the 27th of every month is the statement cycle for this particular credit card. If this person takes action and pays down the balance before the 27th, it's going to show a zero balance. Therefore, Credit One Bank, within the matter of 3 days of let's just say 3 to 5 days of that billing date, they're going to start talking to all three credit bureaus and they're going to go ahead and refresh what the new balance is. And it's going to report it to all three credit bureaus, and then the scores are going to jump up. That's the timing of this thing. So if you're a real estate agent and you're being proactive in helping people in this particular uh, business when it comes to educating about credit and timing of credit scores, well, what you want to do is, number one, if they tell you they're paying down the balance next week, then you want to follow up next week, right? Once you know they've taken action, well, now you want to create another task for yourself for a follow up, and you want to use the 27th as a key date. And what I would typically do is maybe about 2 days prior to the 27th, I would follow up with them, re-engage in conversation and let them know that in a matter of the next 2 to 5 days, more than likely they're going to see a new update. And then in 5 days later, you want to check into their account and see if it updated. Okay. That's typically the timing of everything. All right. So those are nice key little tips for you guys to write down. If you notice, we haven't said anything yet about doing any kind of disputing or anything of that nature. This is just a matter of someone who might have a 600 credit score, and it's just a matter of them paying down a credit card balance. You'd be very surprised that when people have a 600, 590, 580 credit score, they get turned down by the mortgage company, and the mortgage company does not give them any guidance at all. And this is where you can come in as the superhero, talk to a person, educate them, and let them know what it is they can do. And now you have a relationship to get them in the right direction. And then now you have a client. Okay. The second one here, same process. They're at a 35% and their billing date is potentially on December 17th. So I know that if they pay down this balance to a zero, now my follow up dates for this particular account will evolve around the 17th. And for the second card, it's going to be around the 27th. So, depending on how much money this person has to utilize for the purpose of paying down credit cards, that's the way we're going to advise them. If they have only a certain amount of money, let's say they have just enough for that credit one account, then I would tell them to pay down that first credit card account versus this one. Okay. Or I would tell them to pay down the first credit card down to a zero balance or maybe leave a $5 balance and just pay this one down enough to get it down to a 30%, maybe 25 to 30% level. Okay. So that's the way that works. Now, here's another secret. If you guys don't know this, go to resources, and it's best to look at this on a desktop and not a cell phone. Go to Credit Simulator. You can actually simulate what's going to happen, and you can show your client what's going to happen when they pay down those credit card balances. And typically what happens is that they get encouraged because not only are you just telling them that the scores are going to go up, assuming there's no other derogatory items that pop up on the credit report, but now you're showing them and you're educating. So let's decrease my balances. If you notice one thing, this is a simulator. It's not accurate, right? But it does give you an idea of where direction it's going to go. It's also just showing you the TransUnion effect of this particular action. So this person has a 678 with TransUnion based on Credit Karma's algorithm credit scoring. And now what we're going to do, I think the Credit One Bank was 1,085. So I'm going to bring this down to about 1,000. Let's see what happens to the credit scores. Boom, this person jumped up 15 points, right? So this might make the difference between somebody who is just barely qualifying for down payment assistance to actually qualifying for down payment assistance, right? 10, 15, 20 points can make the biggest difference. Now, let's say they pay down everything down to a zero balance. It goes up another 5 points for this particular person. Okay. So you can use this. Again, you don't have to be accurate. You don't have to be the credit score expert. But when you know that you have these tools available, you can sit down with people and gain a relationship and gain a client. Remember, not only is it that you're gaining that particular person as a client in that relationship for the purpose of following up and building up your pipeline, but that person remembers the time that you took with them to help them and educate them and follow up with them. And they're going to remember that, and they're going to refer you to other people who may be in the same predicament, or you'll be surprised. Sometimes they're just going to send you people who are ready to buy just because they like the way you attended to them. Okay. I hope this video helped you guys out. If you have any questions, absolutely drop me a note. Again, guys, don't turn down all the business because there's opportunities. You just need to know how to find them and how to educate yourself on how to help people to build client relationships. Take care. Hope this helped. Bye bye.